Hello, and welcome to the Monday Night Debrief. I am Coffee and Corban, and I'm joined as most often,
Master Paul of the Star Wars guys.
Yes, one of my best friends online.
Absolutely.
And in person, I consider you a real-life friend as well, because we have met in person, and that was
agreed.
Definitely experience to remember.
Yes, indeed.
With Doug Wyatt guitars, that was fun.
Yeah, it was.
My drink of choice today is actually mint tea. I think it's mint black tea with honey, just because it's late and I don't want to be up super late. How's it going, Varlinus? I'll catch up on the chats in a second, but this is my color changing. Of course, it's not going to focus, but my Malgus mug.
Okay.
It's a color changing Malgus mug. I love this thing. This was a birthday present from my wife. So thank you, sweetie. All right, let's see who we got in the chat tonight. We've got JPRPH1. Here's a zip for you.
Indeed.
And I'm assuming he's talking about his mustache mug. So if that's what you're talking about, awesome. I'm glad you got it, and I'm glad you are enjoying it. We got Alan Copeland. Thank you for your like. I appreciate it. Here's a sip for you. Adega Outlaw. Here's a sip for you. And Varlinus. Here's a sip for you. Am I saying that correct now, Varlinus? Or am I still off?
It's a Virilinus.
Virilinus. Okay.
Think of it like you're starting to say Verizon.
Okay, Virilinus. All right. Got it. Oh, we also got number one sci-fi. Here's a zip for you. Welcome to the stream, and thank you very much for joining. Yeah, so as far as the Christmas sweater, yeah, Virilinus, I'm hoping that's right.
I think that's what he told me himself.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with that for now. He says so early for Christmas clothes. Yeah, so I got the sweater like maybe a couple days after New Year's last year. So right after Christmas, it was like $5 at Kohl's or something. And I've just been waiting all year. It's been in my closet all year. And so it's kind of cold now. Like it got up to like 65 today, which is fairly cold compared to all summer long. So I'm wearing it. Let's see. We also got Daryl the Derelict. Here's a sip for you.
Indeed.
We've got the Nerdporial Life Form. Here's a sip for you.
Hey.
Dead Boy Steve. Here's a sip for you. Let's see. He says, finish Dread tonight. If you have Switch, that is a must play. Everyone has been streaming.
Awesome.
Dread. I've heard good things about it. But we've also got to add to the stream number one sci-fi. And your mic is muted, but how are you doing, sir? There you go.
Thanks for the mug.
Yeah, awesome. You are very welcome. I'm glad you got it, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. And Felix Kiris was the guy who sponsored that giveaway.
Thank you, Felix. Son.
Yes, absolutely.
And
this was a character name. He started as Rylanus and then added the Vo to the name when he fell from grace. So it was like, okay, Vo Rylanus. Okay. So for Rylanus. Nice. I like that. My made up Star Wars character, like if I were ever to write a book or something, is Krylus Thel, and I'll put it in the chat so you can see how it's spelled.
And real quick, while he's doing that, Nerdporial, where you said I finished episodes 6 and 7, I'm assuming that's talking to me about Star Trek Continues. I just finished episode 6 of that before hopping on here, and I will watch 7 and 8 tomorrow during the day at work.
Sweet. I just noticed my camera is looking a little warm for the temperature, but I'm still getting used to it, and I would have to actually walk around because I'm using StreamYard to change the settings, and I'm not going to mess with that.
I like it.
It's a new camera that I'm trying out. Camera's not new, but the new setup. If you saw my test stream from the other night, that's what I've been messing with. But it should look a little bit more crispy than my normal camera. So this is what I'm going to be using as of right now, and it's really janky setup. I got a box and then a smaller box, and then like my youngest daughter's little foam baby book kind of wedged under it to like get it to tip down. It's super janky, but I should get a tripod soon, and that'll be nice.
And yes, Tuesday Night Trek did get bumped back to Wednesday this week because we have a special stream that Michael's put together going on tomorrow. He has brought on 2 of his friends from TikTok that are very experienced Star Wars cosplayers. And so we're going to have a conversation about that. And yes, everyone will be in costume, myself included. So if y'all want to see that, it's going to be at, I think we said 7:30 or 7, one of the two. 7:30 East Coast tomorrow.
Sweet. And for anyone wondering about the Christmas sweater that didn't hear me say it at the beginning, I bought this sweater like a few days after New Year's, this last New Year's, and I've been waiting all year to wear it. It is finally somewhat cold, and to me, that means it's Christmas time. You might be saying, what about November and like the entire month of November, and we're not even past Halloween? I really start getting in the Christmas spirit like the day after Halloween.
Me too.
Personally, and other people might say, what about Thanksgiving? You're just completely skipping over Thanksgiving. No, because to me, Thanksgiving is part of Christmas. It's all one big winter thing. Like even New Year's is part of Christmas for me. So
yes,
a lot of people are like, Christmas music stops like on Christmas Day. Don't play it on the 27th or whatever. Like you gotta 26th, 27th, you gotta stop. But I'll listen to Christmas music like all the way through January, just because it's colder. But
there's some Christmas songs I'll listen to all year round, like for example the Trans-Siberian Orchestra's version of Carol of the Bells.
Mm-hmm. What is your least favorite Christmas song? Because I love almost all Christmas songs, but there's a couple that just hit me the wrong way, and I don't like them at all.
I got to think about this one. So, number one sci-fi, if you got an answer for this one, you go ahead and go first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably the corniest one is Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. I mean, that gets played to death sometimes to make it irritating,
Yes.
That'd probably be my number one. That kind of gets on my nerves when it gets played too much.
All right.
Linus, I hope you're feeling better. That's not fun. Health stuff is never fun. So
no, it's
hope
not.
You get better. Rolls up a magazine.
Or Jingle Bells, Santa Smells, something like that.
Oh, yeah. Every third grader's favorite song around Christmas time.
Yeah.
For me, probably one of my least favorite Christmas songs. There's like I said, there's a couple. If I think of the other ones, I'll mention. But the Carol of the Bells with the electric guitar.
That was actually the one. That's the one I was talking about before.
That you that you can listen to all year round. I hate that song. I hate that song. It's just
okay.
I don't know, because it's like, I don't know. It's got the sound of like, oh, play an electric guitar solo, and like that's the sound that everyone would play. So it's, I don't know. It's annoying to me. I don't like it at all. But
fair enough.
Yeah. Blue wheel and sugar got away. Yep, that's exactly it.
For me, I really don't have a least favorite one, but I do have a guilty pleasure. I do 100% seriously, unironically like All I Want for Christmas Is You.
I will admit it's a good song.
Yes.
You're talking about just the regular Mariah Carey version?
Yes.
Yeah, as long as it's her version and not someone else's,
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't particularly like the way she sings it, but like the melody and the whole song as a whole is actually pretty solid. As a songwriter, I can appreciate it.
Right. I'm gonna be putting something funny in chat here in just a moment, because
Happy
last
Christmas.
year. Oh, that's another one. That's one that I do like. Happy Christmas, War is Over. But yeah, last Christmas I was listening to, of course, Christmas music, and just randomly found a mashup of All I Want for Christmas Is You mashed up with Metallica's For Whom the Bell Tolls, and I'm about to put a link to that in chat now. If anyone wants to check that out.
All the songs from the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yeah,
To be fair,
you don't like Wookiee cookies?
Jefferson Starship is better than Cy Snoodles. Both versions.
I still haven't seen the Christmas special.
I haven't either. Spoilers for this Christmas.
I will be watching it this Christmas for sure.
Yes.
Since we're talking about Christmas, which is very early, but now I got you guys talking about it, and it's my channel, so we're going to have one more little topic. What is your favorite Christmas movie?
Die Hard.
Die Hard. A lot of people say Die Hard. Chat, you can chime in too. What's your favorite Christmas movie of all time?
But, I mean, if you want to have one specifically with Santa Claus in it, then I would say it's probably between the original Miracle on 34th Street or
I would say for me, it's a tie between Home Alone and the CGI Jim Carrey version of A Christmas Carol.
I really
Actually,
like
no. Take that.
A Christmas Carol. The Jim Carrey Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
That is a darn good movie.
It is. But then again, I just remembered I also like A Christmas Story, so
I saw A Christmas Story once and didn't care for it. And I saw Miracle on, is it 34th Street? I saw that one once and didn't care for it. But my favorite Christmas movie of all time, and this is a tradition which my parents would watch this every Christmas Eve after we were all already in bed as kids. So I would hear it every single year. And then like when I was old enough to be awake past, whatever time, I finally got to watch it with them. And I had known all the lines from hearing it every Christmas. And I finally watched it. It's a Wonderful Life. And I keep that tradition alive. We watch it every Christmas Eve. And since becoming a husband and a father, that movie hits me so much more. It's so much differently now. It makes me cry every time I watch that movie. Just, I don't know, the feeling of like you have to provide for your family, but you feel like the entire world is coming down around you and you can't ever do enough. And then at the end, the catharsis of realizing that you have everything you need because you have your family and they all love you. And so it makes everything worth it. Makes me cry every time.
All of that said, can you please pull up my list? I just screen shared it.
Okay.
Rubber, gone. And I'm adding It's a Wonderful Life.
You've never seen It's a Wonderful Life?
No.
What?
Okay, it's pretty darn good. It's an old movie, so don't be expecting crazy special effects or whatever.
Yeah,
but the story, watch it in black and white too. Don't watch it colorized. Okay. It is the story is super impactful and amazing. And it's a perfect Christmas movie. And it's not really even like Santa and giving presents and stuff. But
you just dropped out.
I know I did. My camera shut off. I haven't ever tried going this long with that camera. I will be right back. It must be on like a 14-minute time delay or something. I'll be right back.
Real quick, while he's doing that, I can't bring up the chat, but I can read it. Yes, Virilinus, I have never seen Stargate. I'm not going to show the full length of this list again. People have seen it enough. I've killed enough brain cells with it. Let's see. What else? Who said? Okay, Green Lantern, hello, by the way, says, has anyone heard of August Burns Red? Highly recommend their Christmas album. I heard of them, just never actually listened to their music, but I did hear Jared Dines mention them once. Let's see. Nerdporial likes It's a Wonderful Life is a wonderful film. Not only family, but the community you serve too. Agree. Oh boy. Tim, I don't know if you can hear me, but we have someone not supposed to be in here.
If anyone is in the chat and is a mod of mine,
Looks like it's been handled.
I would appreciate it. Thank you. Daryl, good catch. Who caught it? If anyone caught it, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, and hello to Strike721.
It goes without saying, but we don't tolerate any racism or whatever here. So
any
it doesn't need to be said,
content.
but it doesn't need to be said. But these days, I guess it does have to be said.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. You guys, my mods, are doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And hey, I'll say this right now because you and I had a very, very similar worse situation on our first Animation Friday together. Get with Spock. He'll help you set up Nightbot, and that'll help catch that stuff a little bit better.
Yes, I've been wanting to do that. I'll hit him up. Oh, what's up, Strike? Here's a zip for you.
Duly noted, sir.
Nightmare Before Christmas is my favorite Halloween Christmas movie. I do wish Disney would make a remake like they did Aladdin and such.
I'm tired of
You want a live action version of it? Really? You want a live action version?
I don't know how I feel about that. I can see where you're coming from, Steve. I can see where you're coming from, just wanting a modernized version. But at the same time, I feel like that it's one thing to translate from animation to live action. It's another thing to animate from stop motion or claymation to live action. I don't know how well those characters would come over unless they took a completely different version of the movie, like the same basic storyline but different like character types and made it very different. Maybe it could work, but I don't know. I'm like you were saying, I'm tired of the Disney remakes.
See, the thing with me is, even if Tim Burton himself remade that movie, there would just be something about the remake being done in live action that you would just lose with the original. And keep in mind, I've only seen half the original. I haven't even seen the full thing, but I somewhat know the story because I've played Kingdom Hearts. But anyways, the stop motion just gives it this gritty crappiness that has its own charm that lends itself very well to the same dark and twisted thing.
It's the same thing with Corpse Bride, if you ever seen that. It's the same movie, but it's like kind of gross in the animation as opposed to, like Wallace and Gromit or Chicken Run, where it's very clean and well done.
Right.
Like it almost looks like all the figures are dirty.
Yes.
And that's part of the charm, like you were saying. That's what adds, especially as being a Halloween movie. I'm sure that adds to it for a lot of people. Sup, Everest. Lord Crit, my 500th sub.
Okay. Yeah, I will. I won't pull it up again, but I'll certainly add it to the list.
Would like your full take on it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
KOTOR will be out on Switch soon. Awesome. If you haven't played it, play it. I'm assuming they're probably going to keep the same turn-based fighting system, which some people don't like. But the story, the story of KOTOR is up there with some of the best Star Wars books. So, actually, that was like my 10th troll. I had like 9 in that other stream of mine. You remember that? It was the first. It was like I forgot when it was. Was our first Animation Friday?
That was on my channel.
It was on your channel, and then right after I had my Coffee on Korriban live, and I had the same trolls, those bot accounts. Yeah, so I've had bots before.
So, yeah, like I said, just get with Spock. He'll help you get Nightbot sorted out, and that'll help you catch more of that.
Yeah, and speaking on the subject of the remakes real quick, I didn't see the Lion King remake or the Aladdin or the Beauty and the Beast. I just kind of got tired of it at that point. But the which one was it? The Jungle Book remake. I saw that and I liked that. They took some changes in that from the original animated movie, and I thought they were good changes. And overall, I thought it was good. I was personally.
So I did see the Lion King remake, and that's so far is the only of the live action Disney remakes that I have seen. And by itself, it's an okay to a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it does not even close to hold a candle to the original. Like the best example of this that I can think of is they brought back James Earl Jones to do the voice of Mufasa.
Right.
But James Earl Jones in this movie just sounds old and tired,
which is understandable.
King.
Which honestly you can hear a little bit of in Rogue One.
But they do better to mask it in Rogue One because they have to apply all those effects to his voice to make him Vader.
And yeah, he said what they could do with KOTOR is like a Mass Effect where the action is direct, but you can upgrade your weapons or usabilities. Yeah, so I mean, there remains to be seen with the KOTOR remake what they're going to do for that. I'm assuming they're not going to keep the turn-based gameplay. I'm sure it's going to be third-person, regular fighting. I just hope they keep the story elements the same because that's the reason why people love it. Green Lantern says Jungle Book was I think the only one I did like. Of the ones I've seen so far. And Lion King is about as close to a perfect animated movie as you can get. Just watched it again the other night with my daughter for the first time. She was watching it. And it made me remember how much of an awesome movie that is.
Yes.
Gotta bounce. Everyone come check us out on Friday as we continue our journey through the Clone Wars on Animation Friday. And that will be on Master Paul, Star Wars Guys channel, every Friday at 9.
Yep, and we will be talking about Season 1 of the Clone Wars, episodes 6 through 10.
Yes. Sci-Fi, you got any other thoughts on Disney remakes?
Well, I mean, I've seen, all of them so far. Even Mulan, unfortunately, but
there's another one I didn't see.
It's most of, all of them are disappointing compared to the original classic cartoons. I know why they're doing it just for the money, but it still is not a good reason to me for them to keep on doing it.
Yeah, even the excuse that I've heard some people say of, it's something for the new generation of kids. Then if that's the case, why are you still printing copies of the old ones? Buy one of the old ones, show that to your kids. It's a much better product.
Yeah, if they ever redo, I'm sure they go into live action Frozen, for instance, which is their mega hit. Then I know that they have really become super desperate. But
and what Everest is talking about here, I didn't again see Mulan, so I can't really speak from personal experience of watching it. But what you're describing and what I've seen some other reviews talk about, they went for like a more real, gritty feel as opposed to like a princess story. But I don't think they did it the right way. And so what I'm hoping for Andor, because that's personally the show that I'm most excited about for the new Star Wars, I'm hoping that they go for real and dark and gritty, but none of the cheesy stuff that maybe this Mulan movie had. You feel what I'm saying? Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
It does, very much so.
It does to me, since I've seen both, but yeah.
On the subject of the new Disney stuff, which one are you guys looking forward to more, or most, I should say?
Are we talking Star Wars or just Disney in general?
I guess we could talk about, I was talking Star Wars, but we can talk both.
Well, Star Wars easily Kenobi and Ahsoka, especially with the news that Hayden's rejoined them. But Disney in general, honestly, I've just kind of checked out of Disney. Like Star Wars is literally the only thing I care about with Disney anymore.
Yep, I agree. And maybe I'll be somewhat interested in Marvel stuff, like the new Spider-Man movie. If they bring back Willem Dafoe and Tobey Maguire, I'm in.
Agreed.
I'm really interested in checking that out. Other than that, I didn't see Shang-Chi. I didn't see Black Widow. I'm not into it. And then the other Disney stuff like Cruella, I didn't even know was a thing until after it was out. I don't care.
She's not the most iconic Disney villain. So
No.
There's no reason she needed a movie unto herself.
And I feel like 101 Dalmatians was a movie that kids kind of took for granted growing up from like our generation.
Right.
It was a movie that maybe you saw once, but you didn't rewatch as much as Tarzan, Little Mermaid, Lion King, those movies that you would watch constantly.
Agreed.
So, I don't know. Oh, we got Mandalorian.
Hello.
General Kenobi. Here's a sip for you.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, and I DM coached this, but it would not surprise me if, especially if they're going to do flashbacks in Ahsoka, then it would not surprise me if they actually got Ashley Eckstein back to play the younger version of Ahsoka, if they do flashbacks like that.
That's a good point. That is actually a really good point. If they didn't use Eckstein for younger Ahsoka in flashbacks, that could definitely work because she's a lot smaller than Rosario.
Right, which would make sense if they're going to do flashbacks to do it that way. And
absolutely.
And then bring her into the... I think that I would not be surprised if that happened, and I think it's going to happen.
I think, honestly, that would probably be a really smart move because there's a lot of fans that are holding out on liking Rosario because they think they should have given the role to Ashley.
Right.
There's a lot of fans that I know. Are you one of those? Okay, somewhat, so I'm assuming, if I can read your mind, you think Rosario did as good a job as she could have, but you wish they had chosen Ashley.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, how would you feel if in the Ahsoka series Rosario was the main actress who played Ahsoka, but in flashbacks they used Ashley Eckstein for snips, basically? How would you feel if they did that?
Given the fact that we've already had Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka in The Mandalorian, I would be okay with it, and I would probably enjoy it. But from the get-go, when we knew that we were going to get live-action Ahsoka, I would have just casted Ashley Eckstein from the beginning. And I know that I think I was in a conversation, I forget who it was with, but someone had told me that in general, voice actors, people that mostly do voice acting, don't do so well in front of an actual camera. And that could very well be true, but I think you should still give her the opportunity.
Does Sam Witwer...
The thing is, she's been in multiple live-action shows as well. So
Ashley Eckstein?
That kind of... Yeah, she's been...
Well, then there you go.
If you look at her IMDb or even her Wikipedia, she's been in multiple TV live-action shows already. So I don't think that's the... I think they just wanted to go for the older version of her, which I can understand, but like I'm saying, if they do the flashbacks, which we already know they're going to do, then why not bring her as well into that and have her play the younger version of her, which is what she did in the Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff anyway, you know?
And if that happens, I'll be cool with it. It's like that Pedro Pascal meme where he from Wonder Woman 84 was like, life is good, but it could be better. That's kind of how I am with this situation.
Yes. Yeah, and a lot of people are like that. Funny fact about Ashley Eckstein. I did not know until very recently that she is married to David Eckstein.
Yeah, baseball player. Yeah.
Yep, the baseball player for the Angels. They won the World Series in 2002, was it? I think it was 2002.
6.
One of those.
Yeah.
But he was my favorite baseball player growing up because he was short and I was short. And I just I connected with him, and I'm pretty sure he played shortstop.
Nice.
But I just figured out like a couple months ago that it was Ashley Eckstein was David Eckstein's wife.
Yeah,
I didn't make that
been married
connection.
since 2005 is when they got married. So it's been they've been married for 16 years now.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
awesome.
And speaking of favorite baseball players, mine was Derek Jeter, and he was also a shortstop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. Did you guys hear anything about the news of the Ahsoka show having Hayden Christensen in it?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't. I saw thumbnails and article headlines and stuff, but I didn't even read into it. You guys want to fill me in?
Basically, it all started with a big tweet that Rosario Dawson tagged Hayden Christensen in, saying something along the lines of "Sky Guy, they know, see you soon, snips."
So, they know, meaning probably the fans.
Yeah.
Meaning that we're getting Hayden in Ahsoka.
And if they're saying that it's going to be Force Ghost Anakin or whatever is what he's supposedly portraying.
Either that or flashbacks.
Yeah. Then like I said, then you can, like I said, then mix in, hopefully, Ashley Eckstein,
So here, if they have Force Ghost Anakin come and talk to Ahsoka, I would need one thing first. I would need Ahsoka to find out Anakin is still alive through Luke. That's a scene I really, really have always wanted. Is Luke meeting Ahsoka and saying, "My father, Anakin Skywalker," and she says, "Wait, you knew Anakin Skywalker? Like, do you know what he became?" And then he says, "Yes, he came back at the end."
You want him to physically meet her versus Force meeting her, basically.
Luke, I want to meet her. So I want Luke
physically,
to meet
not through the
Ahsoka,
Force, right?
Physically, correct, physically, and then explain to her that his father came back, and then her to, cry because like last she saw was at the Sith Temple or whatever, right?
I did a Google search of this and found that exact scenario that someone had drawn out.
Yes, that's exactly the one I'm talking about. I think that could be an incredibly emotional scene. And then after she's aware of his return, then she kind of opens herself back up to the Force and then can communicate him, whether he comes back as a voice or a Force ghost or something. Because I feel like at this point she would have zero hope that Anakin is still there, especially if she hears that the Death Star blows up, Darth Vader is finally dead. Like, she wouldn't have any hope that Anakin's still alive. But maybe after talking with Luke, she'll reach out with the Force and be able to communicate with him.
And I think that's a good tie into what Dat Boy Steve just said here. When Hayden shows up and says, "Hey, Snips, I'm going to lose my forcing mind." Yep. You and many other people.
I might cry, especially since we're going through the Clone Wars right now.
Well, it's pretty likely that Rex will probably be in this show, right?
I certainly hope so.
And
because if you've seen this Clone Wars Season 7, you know Ahsoka and Rex have a very special friendship.
And then Thrawn is supposedly probably going to be in it, right?
Yes.
And then Ezra. Those are the three, right?
Yeah. Thrawn and Ezra should bring the action part of it. Luke and Anakin should bring the emotional aspect of it. That's what I would do. But exactly what Steve was saying. It's just that's going to tie up so much for so many people. Except for the people that don't know about Clone Wars, then they'll be like, what?
Yeah.
Snips.
Hey,
Hey.
Legendary Tron.
He fights for the users.
Yes,
Welcome.
he does.
And here's a sip for you.
I'm out of Coke, and I'm not getting any more this late.
Yeah. That's why I chose tea instead of coffee this late, because we got to work tomorrow. Speaking of work, you guys have decent Mondays, or was it a Monday kind of Monday?
I was actually off today, so
Oh,
my
nice.
Monday mostly consisted of mowing the yard, helping my grandmother get a window AC unit out for the winter, and then I spent the evening at my friend Ian's house.
Nice. I really, and I didn't think I would ever say this, I really wish I had a lawn to mow. Because growing up, when it's a chore of mowing the lawn, you hate it because it's a chore. But now that
Yes.
I've been in an apartment for the last 5 years, I really cannot wait to have my own house and have a lawn to mow. That seems like a lot of fun for me.
Whenever you do get a lawn, if it's big enough, get yourself a zero-turn mower. Those things are so fun, because that's what I use.
Well, I'm glad I'm not in California anymore. If you didn't hear the new California law, I think by 2025 it's illegal to sell any lawn or gardening equipment with gasoline motors. They all have to be electric.
I'm honestly not surprised.
My dad just told me the other day.
I can't even muster up enough of a reaction to facepalm over that.
It's laughable. Like you're like a gas powered, like edger.
Mm-hmm.
You can't buy that in California after 2025. That's why I left.
Susky, if you're listening, you need to join your brother in Tennessee.
So
he's coming out in January, I think. Last I heard, he's trying to.
Yeah. So in other words, buy it in 2024, basically.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Or move. Yeah, I agree with this completely. There is no incentive to live there. There are some nice spots, but you are paying for them. And the other stuff that comes along with it is not worth it. So basically, yeah, there's no incentive to live there.
I would argue for me personally, there's no incentive to even visit there, because I have only been to California once. It was the summer of last year when COVID was arguably at its worst. We drove through San Francisco and drove along the coast, and everything outside of San Francisco, like the redwood trees and such, was beautiful. San Francisco was, and this isn't swearing, at least in my book, because it's a place, a hellhole. Trash everywhere, homeless everywhere. I swear I was seeing pee stains on the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised.
There's dumps all over the sidewalk everywhere.
Yeah. I'm surprised I didn't see any discarded needles.
California, I haven't heard that one. That's funny. Yes, the redwoods in Sonoma County, Northern California, are definitely worth checking out.
Especially considering a lot of those were where
there's other
Return of the
places
Jedi
I'd rather
Endor
go
was
though.
filmed.
Yes, and it is very Endor moon vibes there. But again, there's other places I'd rather visit. I'd much rather go back to the Grand Canyon than the redwoods. The only place I would ever go back to California at this point is just a couple good friends I still have that live there and my family until they move out here. But that's it.
Understandable.
Nice, dude.
I hope it gets approved for you soon, man.
Then he can mount a lawnmower onto his wheelchair. That's awesome, dude. I'm really looking forward to. Yes, he would mow for the users. I'm really looking forward to meeting Tron in April.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to meeting everybody. There's so many people that are going or that are supposed to go that I've never seen in person. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I still have yet, though, to buy my ticket or book a room because a couple different things are kind of in flux for me right now.
Yeah, and I'm only 2.5 hours away, so I still don't even know if I'm going to get a room or just drive one or both of the days.
Understandable.
But either way, it's pretty close for me. So, and it's actually a really pleasant drive. It's not bad at all.
Good.
Health and money are issues. Money's definitely an issue, and health, I'm really hoping that clears up for you, dude.
Definitely.
Because that's health stuff is not fun. Like I said earlier.
I want to go back to what you were talking about earlier. Like if you could make your own Star Wars character, I really liked the idea that you had shared, and I have one that I've created also. Mostly I use this for like TikTok stuff I've been getting into lately. I have a Jedi investigator character named Kane Derrick.
Ooh, that's cool.
And here I'll put it in chat, his name, so you can see exactly how it's spelled.
Real quick,
But the idea,
Mandalorian, don't worry. There is a reason we left California. I didn't bring any of that with me other than my accent. So don't worry about that.
Yeah. And I'll say this real quick too. Virginia is quickly going down the same path. I might have to leave sooner rather than later.
Well, you're welcome down here.
Thanks. But yeah, that is how it's spelt. And the idea is that his story is mostly set between episodes 1 and 2, which, at least in the current canon, is a time period that really has not been explored as much. And I think it's a interesting story to go with, basically of him taking on a Padawan, but then going on like NCIS, FBI, CIA sort of crime solving missions instead of protecting a senator or keeping like solving murders and such.
That is a really cool idea that I haven't thought of before, Paul. Somewhat less in a, oh yes, we are the Jedi, we are here to negotiate, and more of the like, no, I'm a Jedi, so I'm going to figure everything out.
Right.
Like that's a really cool theory,
Like
and there was a little bit of that in, what was it? I think the second or the third Bane book in the Bane trilogy was like that. There was a Jedi that was more investigative than Jedi. That is a really dope idea, though.
Thanks. And my inspiration for this type of character actually doesn't come from Star Wars at all. It comes from Fallout 4. If anyone has played that game, you know the character Nick Valentine. So that's sort of the inspiration that I've taken for my character.
I don't know that, but let me know if you write something or make something with that character, because that sounds interesting.
Okay.
My character, Crowley Stell, is there's like two versions of the character I'm working with right now. In my head, I do eventually want to write a novel, but the dark side version of this character, actually, this is like 5,000 years after the Battle of Yavin, so quite a ways in the future. And he actually, there's no Jedi or Sith left at this point. The Force is basically starved.
Interesting.
So there's no balance, there's no presence, just the Force is just starved, and it's looking for a vessel to have its Force back in the world. He actually discovers a kyber crystal in a cave and finds these ancient texts about something about making them bleed. They're supposed to turn red, but when he tries this process, it actually turns green. Not like light side Jedi Yoda green, but like poison toxic green. So it's dark side but green. And that's I think I mentioned before about like, would a dark side user ever have a green saber? That's what I had in mind. But like
a darker but poison green.
Yes, a poison green, not a light side green, and it like gives off like a toxic smoke cloud almost. Not a thick one, but just like it's a poison blade, as opposed to just green like Qui-Gon's.
Gotcha.
And then there's a light side character, and actually are the same person, but in two parallel timelines. That it's confusing. It's like a Christopher Nolan movie.
Gotcha.
And I will click that button one more time. Give me just a moment.
Gotcha. By the way, anyone watching, if you've never seen what a birthday cake flavored Hershey Kiss looks like, there you go. And yes, it tastes as sugary as it looks. Diabetes.
I'm back. We need new stars MMO. Like SWTOR, but new.
Yeah. Like, I would love to play some sort of MMO, Star Wars or not, that does not have the classic MMO controls, where you pretty much have to rely on your keyboard here and, hit the buttons up here at the top, but instead just play it on a controller and, play it like a normal hack and slash or third-person shooter type game.
You can play on a controller on your PC, can't you?
For SWTOR? No. I've tried.
Not for SWTOR. Okay. I know other games you can.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Sci-fi, you have anything fancy that you did over the weekend or anything?
Not really.
Got anything coming up this week that you're excited about?
Well, I mean, I guess Halloween is Sunday, obviously. But most people are doing parties Saturday, it seems like, for that.
Never played it.
You use a controller for FF14. Is that Final Fantasy?
Yeah,
yes, and I've never played a Final Fantasy game. The only thing Square Enix that I have any experience with is the Kingdom Hearts series.
I've never played any of those either. Or Kingdom Hearts.
Highly recommend. The only thing I say, you have to play all of them to get the story. You can't just play 1, 2, and 3.
I think I will work my way through the story of the Resident Evil series first, which I'm really enjoying Matt Cave's streams on that, because that's some lore that I had no idea about until his playthroughs.
If I could get away with it with my grandmother, I'd play them myself, but she probably won't let me have that sort of stuff in the house. She is...
That's understandable.
Yeah, she is, and you'll probably understand what I'm saying here, Tim. One of those old school Pentecostals.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. My internet's getting poopy. I don't know why. How can you have 5 bars of 5G, but a bad internet connection?
I wish I knew, otherwise I'd fix my internet the same way.
That doesn't make sense to me. There's so many times, like even on my phone, where it like won't load a web page or any web pages, and I'm like, it's got full 5G bars. What do you want?
Right.
Like, I can't get another bar.
Now, have you gotten into Skyrim at all, or no?
Yes, love Skyrim.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I still play that to this day.
Me too. In fact,
you're right. Thriliness is correct. Bandwidth.
Yes. I play Skyrim with a crap ton of mods, and recently I found a mod that gives you a full set of lore-friendly Mandalorian armor, so I've been using that.
Skyrim with mods.
Yes.
Was he talking about with the controller? Or?
Yes, no. You can play.
You play with a controller, but a mod, is something that adds to, like he's saying.
Yeah.
There's like 1,000 of them, but
right. Yeah. Best way to play modded Skyrim is on PC. You can do it with the special edition on like the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox, but it's way more limited, especially with on the PlayStation side because of some deal that PlayStation doesn't have with Microsoft and Bethesda. But you don't have to worry about any of that on
Right.
on PC.
I don't have any kind of a PC game background, except for like way a long time ago. So I don't know a whole lot about mods and stuff. I was PS2, Xbox 360 generation.
Yeah, if you play
Gotcha.
Sins of a Solar Empire, that has numerous Star Wars and Star Trek mods with that as well.
What's the game called?
Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion, I should say.
Sins of the Solar Empire Rebellion.
Yeah, it has
Okay.
many Star Wars and Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica and whatever mods.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Nice.
It's
Speaking
on
of-
Steam. It's on Steam. You know, if you got Steam, which I'm sure most people do have.
Speaking of Battlestar Galactica, I gotta go back through Battlestar Galactica, the
Never
original.
seen it.
Oh yeah,
Never-
the
never seen
original
it.
was.
I wouldn't.
for
I
one
would say go through your Star Trek stuff first. What I remember of Battlestar Galactica is pretty cheesy. But
well,
I
the
liked
1980. I don't even count the 1981. But if you
it.
but it was only on one season for the original, and then you had 1980 if you want to count that. But you know,
Fair enough. So,
You got any other news, Star Wars or otherwise?
well, a week from today is my birthday. And to
That's right,
celebrate,
November 1st. I remember.
yes. So to celebrate, depending on whether or not I'm off, I may do sort of a midday birthday stream, chill stream sort of thing. Just hang out with you guys. But then that
Cool.
night, myself, Michael, my friend Ian, and some friends from work are going to go somewhere local and do some axe throwing. No.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
They
kidding.
might, I won't.
Axe throwing and drinking does not sound like a good combo.
And yet people pay to do it.
Yeah, it is. I don't get it because I don't drink alcohol. Very rarely do I have a glass of wine. It's usually only a half glass because I'm a lightweight, so I just don't drink alcohol. I drink coffee if I want something. But I don't get how people just if they're going bowling, they'll just like drink so much and go bowling. It's like you're playing terribly. You're not even having fun. What's the point?
It's that sentiment is taken tenfold when you join the military. I kid you not, especially when I was in Bahrain. Doing anything with certain people that I worked with was an excuse to drink, including doing nothing.
Right. Yeah, it's even in like trades, like construction and stuff. I knew people that would work, and as soon as they would get off, they would start drinking all the way until they go to sleep, and then wake up in the morning and just work all hungover. As soon as they get off, they start drinking again, and then all weekend they just drink all weekend. I don't get it. How does that? I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me.
Right. By the way, Tim, I think you missed it earlier, but have you ever wondered what a birthday cake flavored Hershey Kiss looks like?
Birthday cake flavored Hershey Kiss. Does it taste like birthday cake?
It tastes about as sugary as it looks.
Okay. It looks birthday cakey.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds very Viking. I only drink socially. I don't like the feeling of being drunk. And I've never been drunk in my entire life. I don't know what drunk is like, but when I get very tired, I act exactly the way that a person drunk would act.
Me too.
not good. And I'm sometimes a jerk to my wife when I'm really tired, and I feel bad about it because I wake up the next morning and have no idea what I did, but it's just because I was tired and how I was acting. So I would imagine I would be the same way if I was drunk. But again, I've never had any more than like a single glass of wine. So I've never even had a beer, so I wouldn't know.
Right. I have only ever had 4 sips of alcohol my entire life, and all 4 of them tasted horrible. The first was a hard apple cider sort of thing called a Savannah Dry that I had with some friends of mine at this really nice marina resort in Bahrain, which that whole night's a separate story on its own. But yeah, that Savannah Dry tasted like puke. Then after that was something that I drunk accidentally, not knowing it was alcohol. I thought it was just Kool-Aid because I was at a friend's house party. And
it's never just Kool-Aid.
Found that out the hard way because he handed me this drink and said, "Here, have this. It's Kool-Aid." And there was 2 of my friends sitting next to me. One of them was saying, "Yeah, it's Kool-Aid. Drink it." Another one was saying, "No, it's not Kool-Aid. Don't drink it." And I smelled it, and it smelled like Kool-Aid. So I thought, okay, it was not Kool-Aid.
It's never just
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
It was Kool-Aid. I think what they described it as is Kool-Aid mixed with vodka mixed with pre-workout.
What? So you got your upper and your downer in one drink with the Kool-Aid. That sounds like a whole lot of not fun.
Yeah, but like I said, I only had like barely a sip of it before I realized, oh no, and I pretty much spit it out, so it did nothing to me.
Yeah.
And then
go with your third time.
Yeah, the third was a Disaronno and Coke on the rocks. But that actually was not bad, but not good enough to finish.
Yeah.
And then the fourth was some sort of white wine that I can't remember. That tasted like cough syrup.
I think it was in my senior year of high school or something. Some dude like gave me. He's like, "Hey, you want a Pop-Tart?" I'm like, "Sure, I love Pop-Tarts." We never bought actual name brand Pop-Tarts. We would get like the discount Great Value brand or whatever. So I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll eat a Pop-Tart." And I started taking bites. I'm like, "This is really good." And he's like, "Oh yeah, they better be good. They're special." I'm like, what do you mean special? What are you talking about? And he's like, "It's watermelon. It's a rare flavor," or something like that. I was like, "Are you sure he didn't give me any like pot tarts or something?" But he's like, "No, it's just a hard to find flavor, limited time only." So I don't know if it was like watermelon or whatever, but
you didn't feel strange after eating it?
No, it was just a normal Pop-Tart. He just said it was a rare flavor.
Wow.
But
all right, so since I brought it up, let me tell you about what I alluded to earlier with that night we had at the Marine Resort. So this is the drunkest I have ever seen someone get.
Oh.
So this resort had a poolside bar. So that is where we spent most of our nights. And like I said, I only had that one sip of that Savannah Dry. I actually was, swimming around enjoying myself. Everyone else was racking up this ridiculous bar tab. And there was this one friend I had. His name was Dylan Bruns. And he was a short but stocky, like really built, jacked. He went to the gym a lot kind of guy. And he was one of those silly drunks where he gets drunk to a certain point and just everything is a big laugh.
Yeah.
Well, it got time to where the bar was closing and it was time to get out of the pool. He was so drunk that 3 different times he climbed out of the pool only to lose his balance and fall back in. And then by
laughing the whole time, I'm assuming.
Yes. And of course, all of us were laughing with/at him. And then by the time that he was able to get out of the pool and stay out of the pool, I pretty much had to walk behind him, my hands on his shoulders, physically steering him. Because if I hadn't, he would have careened himself off into the marina itself, into the water out there.
Oh boy.
And we got back to our villa, and everyone, of course, but me, continued drinking. Now, by this point, I decided that I was tired and decided to go to bed. All the beds were taken, so I slept in the room that had 2 beds, and I slept on the floor in the middle of the 2 beds. Well, my friend Dylan, I don't know this, but he comes upstairs with a full bag of Fritos, and in his drunken state bombs the whole room with the bag of Fritos. And of course, me being the poor person on the ground between the 2 beds, the guys that get the Fritos on their beds push them down onto me. And the part that still I cannot explain for the life of me, this bedroom did not have a lock on it. They had a double locking closet in case anyone was to have a bad trip off of whatever drugs they might do in this place, and the bedrooms don't lock. How does that make sense?
That sounds like a whole lot of nope.
It was.
It's a whole lot of nope. By the way, goodbye Monday, at least for me in my time zone.
Indeed.
Goodbye
Indeed.
Monday. Hello. Let's get on with the rest of our week. Woohoo. That sounds like not fun. It's just alcohol just seems like more trouble than it's worth most of the time.
Agreed.
Like I get it. Like people that have like a single beer or something to like relax while they watch something. Like I get it. That's fine. But the people that like drink only to get drunk, I don't get it. I don't get the reasoning behind it. I don't like feeling in an altered state anyway. Like if I'm really tired or for some reason I have way too much caffeine, just like I don't like feeling different.
Right.
I don't like that.
And the main
because
reason
too many dead bodies.
could be.
Roadies.
Very well could be. But yeah, I ultimately stay away from alcohol completely, and of course don't get drunk, because I have, and I'm 100% serious here, I have a very obsessive type of personality where if I get hooked onto something, it is very almost impossible to get me off of it. And it's gotten me in trouble with in the past with harmless things. Like the amount that I love Star Wars now is nothing compared to how much I loved it as a kid, to the point that, so here's a story for an example. I was in the backyard with all of my siblings, and of course we had sticks that were about the length that a lightsaber would be, and we were lightsaber fighting each other. I was too focused on doing that I didn't notice that Jonathan, he was trying to play with the dog that we had at the time, Max, but did something to make him mad. I don't know what, because I wasn't looking. And Max nipped at him, and of course Jonathan was a toddler at the time, and he started crying. Mom and Dad hear this, and at first they thought Max was being vicious with him and they were going to put him down. But then when they asked me what happened, and I said, I don't know, I was, playing Star Wars, they were like, okay, so this is your fault, not Max's fault. So no more Star Wars until we say so.
Ouch.
Yeah, so
Don't take away Star Wars.
Yeah. But I say that to say, if Star Wars, if my obsessive personality can get me in trouble like that with Star Wars, imagine what would happen if I got hooked on alcohol or anything else. You name it.
No, I completely agree, and I'm like that in certain aspects. I'm not very good at staying away from certain things, but yeah, I definitely know what you're sounding like. And for some people, that's best to stay away. Like, there's nothing. I've heard messages on this before. Like, there's nothing in the Bible that says you can't drink alcohol. But it's a good idea to just not, lest you go down that path. Anyway, Spock, how are you doing, sir? We're about to wrap it up, but here's a sip for you.
Closest closest thing that I can think of to what you just said is Ephesians 5:8, which, and New King James Version says, "And do not be drunk with wine, in which is dissipation, but be filled with the Spirit."
Right. So dissipation, basically in excess. Like, it doesn't forbid you from drinking it. All it says is don't become drunk. Like, don't drink to get drunk.
Or don't become dependent on alcohol to function. Instead, depend on Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit to sustain
Exactly.
you.
That's a good topic for Nerdy Disciple whenever we start that up.
Yeah.
We gotta get into communication and figure out when we're doing that.
We do.
Yeah, you took one for the dog.
Yeah, he was a good boy.
All right, well, we're gonna start to wrap it up here because I'm sure we all got work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And stuff. Number one sci-fi. Anything you want to add, or last topic or anything?
I'm just looking forward to new Star Wars whenever it drops, basically.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Boba Fett is going to be pretty killer. So just holding out for that. Because we don't have anything between now and then, right? Or it's like right around the corner.
Next.
Yeah, December, right?
Mm-hmm. Do you remember when the end of The Mandalorian happened and it was that little teaser with him killing Bib Fortuna and taking over Jabba's palace, and we're like, the Book of Boba Fett, and now we're like, it's on our doorstep.
Mm-hmm. Darth Mandalorian has the date there, December 29th.
Yep. True. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure. I don't think I can commit to doing reactions to each episode. It's a lot of work.
No.
But I'm definitely going to be doing a edited video recap, and then probably on my live show each week recap.
I probably will too. All right, last topic.
I'll touch on this real quick. The prop gun incident. I'm going to say right off the bat, I have not seen any official information that has come out explaining what happened. I've heard a lot of unconfirmed accounts of what happened. I've heard everything from it was a real gun that someone snuck in on set to frame Alec Baldwin, which I don't believe is true. And I've also heard that it was a prop that was filled with blanks, but the barrel exploded and the shrapnel is what killed her. So I don't know. Oh, breaking news on Korriban. Helena Hutchins' next project, I guess that's the lady that was killed. Her next project was a documentary on Hollywood pedophile rings. Says the director of photography killed by Alec Baldwin was attached to the controversial upcoming documentary about alleged pedophile rings in the entertainment industry. So there's another wrench in the situation. Maybe she was killed.
Yeah.
Because, everyone knows Hollywood is corrupt.
Someone that's into that stuff, do whatever research you need to find out whether or not Alec Baldwin was a regular of a certain person who didn't kill himself.
Mm.
And
yeah, she also had information against Clinton. I believe it.
Yeah.
So she got suicided.
Yeah. And real quick, what Virilinus just said, it was a real gun and a real bullet. I agree 100%. In fact, if you have not seen it, I would recommend going to Valiant Renegade and looking at his video on the subject, because
I'll check him out. He's got a good take on things, usually.
Yeah. Yeah. A prop gun usually is just one solid piece of plastic or metal shaped to look like a gun. But if you need to fire something, even if it's blanks, it takes a real gun.
I don't understand why, and it might be the case, so I'm not going to say, but it should be that there should be guns that only fire blanks. On the outside, they look exactly like your typical, let's say, Glock 19 or something, but they only fire a specific type of blank so that you cannot physically put a live round And I don't know. It just seems like
We
that.
kind of something like that kind of already exists with beanbag shotguns. You
Mhm.
cannot, I think, physically load a real 12 gauge round into one of those. And beanbag shotguns do look different. All the furniture on them is specifically green, and police
Right.
oftentimes use those.
Yeah. So Virilina said they do have guns like that. That would make sense. So like that would completely avoid any mix-up of adding live ammunition.
Right.
But again, we don't know any of those official details yet. We don't know if it was a prop gun or a blank gun or a real gun that was supposed to have blanks,
Yeah.
or someone snuck in a real bullet, or he snuck in a real bullet. We don't know anything yet. And if it did have anything to do with pedophile ring or Clinton information, I highly doubt we're going to get the true story.
No.
So
And here's the thing, even if that was a real gun, this incident still should not have happened, because Alec Baldwin should have known, being as anti-gun as he should have known the universal laws of firearms,
yeah.
or at least as I have been taught in the Navy, which is, number one, treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Number two, never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. Number three, keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. And number four, keep your weapon on safe until you intend to fire. Had those four things been followed, this issue would not have happened, even if that was supposed to be a real gun.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Unless in the case of a prop malfunction, if it was, let's say, a blank and the barrel exploded, like that one account that I've heard. I can't verify any veracity of that. That's just one source that I heard say something. In that case, then that wouldn't be his fault. That would just be the fault of the manufacturer of the gun. But I don't know if it's any other situation, and he's at least responsible for negligence. Like you got to know if there's something in there. And Michael Knowles, I don't know if you're familiar with him at all. Do you know Ben Shapiro on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, Michael Knowles is part of the Daily Wire crew. They have shows that run back to back. But he said when he was on sets for movies, like as an actor and stuff, anytime there was any kind of a prop gun that shot blanks or anything, everyone on set was made aware, and like extra precaution steps were made to make sure that everyone knew what was going on, like triple, quadruple checking before they would shoot the scenes. And he said that a few times there was a gun that discharged with blanks, but the crew wasn't notified, and just because whoever was supposed to let everyone know didn't tell everyone that they were going to fire that during the scene, they shut the whole production down for the day. So that's the kind of precautions that should be taking place, because I mean Brandon Lee got shot that way, right?
Who's Brandon Lee again?
Bruce Lee's son, if I'm not mistaken.
So.
Yeah, for the Crow, right?
Yeah. The director did call out cold before giving the firearm to Baldwin. So yeah, I don't know.
No.
Again, if I was an actor in the scene and I was like, because I don't think there was anyone else acting in the scene from what I've heard with him. Like he wasn't shooting at a person, he was shooting at the director. Like if I'm shooting a gun like toward where people are standing, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that, even if it was a blank. Like if you shot guns, you should know. You don't do that.
And what Virilinus just said about the director calling out cold, that's not good enough.
No.
Another thing I was taught in the Navy, so just a little bit of background. When I was in the Navy, I always carried the M9 Beretta pistol and sometimes the M4 rifle. And we were taught, and anytime a weapon changed hands, that we had to verify that it was clear and safe.
Correct.
Clear and safe
Absolutely
means
correct.
No round in the chamber, no magazine inserted, and of course, safety on. You could not hand a weapon to anyone for any reason without doing clear and safe.
Yeah. And perhaps if Alec Baldwin, again, we don't know the details, but perhaps if he was better more aware with how you treat firearms and had a greater respect for them as opposed to the disdain that he's had historically in the past, perhaps he would have checked himself or been more careful with the gun, because negligence is from a lack of knowledge, right? You negligent or accidental discharges happen because you're not taking care, and I'll fix that camera in a second. It's because you're not taking the proper care that the weapon deserves. If you use it correctly, it's no different than a hammer or a staple gun.
Right.
I mean, with like, let's say a bandsaw, you could slice your arm off real easy with that if you're negligent, if you don't know the proper steps of operations. And I was telling my wife this the other day, because I would like to get her a carry gun after she has, training and everything. If someone hands you a gun and says, "Oh, I already checked, it's unloaded," no, that's not good enough. You pull the mag, yourself. You check the barrel, you make sure yourself. And just people that don't have a respect for firearms, that's what gets you into trouble. So I'm going to reset my camera. I'll be right back. And then we'll close it out.
Okay. Real quick, again, while he's doing that, the comments, I like what Greenland says, like the first thing they told you in hunter safety, this is a gun, it can kill you. Absolutely. I feel like if more people actually took the time to learn about guns, then there would be less people hating them. I think a lot of the people that hate guns don't even truly understand them. It's like the line from Batman Begins. People fear what they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and Steven Crowder, if you're familiar with him, he's had a phrase that he said multiple times. There are only two types of people in the country: Second Amendment supporters, gun supporters, and the uninformed. And number one sci-fi, I don't know your opinion on guns or whatever, or anyone in the chat, so we're just spouting our beliefs. But yeah, as far as that statement, there's only the people that understand what guns are and what they're for, and they understand the point of the Second Amendment and why people own them, and there's people that aren't informed on the subject. So that's my yes, respect. I don't know what song, but like the guy on set in 1984 put the prop gun to his head, joking around, and pulled the trigger. Concussive force sent pieces of his skull into his brain and killed him. Yeah, blanks. Just because there's not a piece of copper flying out at the end doesn't mean it's not dangerous. All the hot expanding gases is just as powerful as a bullet.
Yeah.
At that close of a range.
If I understand correctly, what's ultimately coming out the barrel of a blank is just a whole bunch of super compressed air.
And usually like wadding as well, right?
I think
sometimes. Even if it's just the air. That's I agree to an extent. A curse, because I don't know, people can use it to do nefarious things, but if they're going to do nefarious things, they're going to do things anyway.
Yeah.
So that's sin nature.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. If you respect firearms, you don't have to be afraid. Driving a car is incredibly scary. If you think back to when you first took your driver's ed classes or just got your learner's permit or whatever, you kind of realize I can kill someone right now. I can kill myself easily.
Yeah.
But if you respect the car and you know what you're doing, then that goes away. Ask Australia that right now. Best they wish. Yes, dude. Yeah.
That is.
I would say I feel bad for Australia, but I kind of don't. We didn't give up our guns. It was a buyback program. Mandatory buyback. Anyway, we're going to wrap it here. It's getting a little too late. My best friend in Hawaii is an officer that has to investigate murders and other unfortunate events. We talk about it frequently. Yeah, and I'm not saying bad things don't happen, because they absolutely do. kind of wrap it up with that's one of the reasons we moved to Tennessee. And I'm very thankful that the law that just changed this last July, and I will be taking advantage of that soon.
Yeah, and as I said before, Virginia is going, as of right now, Virginia is going down the same road as many other of these states that have, like California, for example. We have a governor's vote this year. Hopefully, things are done on the up and up, and people are able to pull their head out of their butts and vote for the right candidate.
I wouldn't
but then
count
again,
on it. It's going to spread everywhere, and we know how things end. It's not going to get better.
No.
Not permanently, anyway. We know that. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it here. Any closing thoughts that either of you guys have?
We talked about a lot of depressing things here in the second half of this chat.
We'll try to make next week a little happier. But that's the Monday night debrief. It's just whatever you want to talk about, whatever's on your mind.
Yes. But in spite of all of that, just remember, we're here not to hate on things. We're here because we like things. We like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so that ultimately is what we should keep our focus on here.
Yeah, absolutely. Sci-fi, you got anything?
Well, they still haven't confirmed, right, that Han Solo or anybody else like that is going to be in the Book of Boba Fett, right?
Like original trilogy characters?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything like that. The only people is Ahsoka, obviously. Or not in Book of Boba Fett. I was thinking of Ahsoka. Never mind. Boba Fett. Do we have any other confirmed people for Book of Boba Fett?
No.
I can't think of any.
All right, so let me ask you this. Just your snap one-word answer.
Mm-hmm.
Is Mace Windu going to be in Book of Boba Fett?
No.
I say yes.
I would like it, but I don't think they're going to do it. But we didn't think they were going to bring Luke back.
True.
We didn't think they were going to kill off everyone at the end of Rogue One. We've been proven wrong before.
That is true.
So I would be down for it if it was done tastefully and correctly, but I don't think so. What do you think, Sci-Fi? Do you think Mace Windu's coming back?
Eventually. whether it's in Book of Boba Fett or whatever, sooner or later. You know, I mean,
it's a good point.
I mean, that realistically, they should do a Darth Vader series, you know, but they've been kind of basically throwing him into everything instead, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I do think that's a good point that he has to come back eventually. He's too fan favorite-y of a character for them not to bring him back at some point. Just like Boba Fett was too fan favorite-y of a character for them not to bring him back, and I'm really glad they did, because they did it right. So.
Right.
All right, well, we are going to leave it there. It is getting a little bit late. I'm going to go jump in bed, wake up, and Monday 2.0.
Sounds like a good plan.
All right, well, appreciate you guys coming on. It's always a fun discussion. Sci-Fi, pretty sure this is the first time you've been on here, but I appreciate having you. So thanks for coming by.
Yeah. Right, and of course, on my end of things, guys, don't forget to tune in tomorrow. I'm going to tentatively say 7. I'll update on my channel at some point when I find out for sure, but 7 o'clock we're having a special Star Wars cosplay centric stream with 2 guests that Michael has been able to get for us. And then Wednesday, of course, is what would be normally Tuesday Night Trek, but it's going to be Wednesday Night Trek. And then, of course, Friday is Animation Friday with myself, this guy over here, and the Matt Cave, where we're going to be talking about Season 1, 6 through 10 of Clone Wars. So make sure to tune in for all of that. Yep. And I'm going to go ahead and see myself out because I am that tired. Nice. See you later, man.
See you. And don't forget, the Force is family, in case you forgot. All right. Well, Sci-Fi, appreciate you coming by. And I will see you next time. You're always welcome on these Monday night debriefs because they're fun.
All right, thank you.
Cool. You have a good night.
You too.
And everyone in the chat, I appreciate you coming by. And if you've made it this far and you've been here since the beginning, I really appreciate your time. So here's a sip for you. The last final sip for you. And I will be headed off to bed. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your week because we are done with Monday. Woohoo. So you have all been debriefed. And I hope you have a very good night. And I will see you wherever I happen to see you in the galaxy. Sleep well.